Emma Clark always thought she was my sugar daddy, even though I never spent her money. After her first love returned, she pushed me into another woman's room. "Help your sister. Close the deal and your sister will reward you," she said. But when I really started spending time with that woman, Emma broke down. "I didn't say anything. Who allowed you to change your heart?" she snapped. I accompanied Emma at the KTV until late at night. She hooked my chin, and I uncomfortably dodged away. For some reason, she always liked to hook my chin, like teasing a puppy or a kitten, even though I was much taller than her petite frame. But she never did this to Lucas. She blushed just touching Lucas's hand, even though he was always indifferent to her. Even though I was her boyfriend. Emma hooked my chin again. "Ethan, how many years have you been with me?" I brushed her hand away. "We've been dating for 3 years. Emma's best friend teased from the side. "Oh, the little puppy is angry, Emma. You should buy him something to cheer him up." Emma laughed. "What do you want?" I shook my head and said nothing. I was tired of explaining. Even though I'd been with Emma for 3 years, I hadn't taken a penny from her. The card she gave me stayed neatly in her drawer. Everything she bought for me remained untouched. Except once. Emma gave me an album with her childhood drawings, and that I kept. I'd lie in bed and look at it when I had nothing to do. But Emma still saw me as the little puppy she kept by her side, not her boyfriend. She snuggled into my arms like a kitten, finding a comfortable position, and drew circles on my chest with her hand. "Do you know Lucas is back?" I froze. Lucas, Emma's first love. She'd even called his name when we were together. After that, I never stayed at her place again. Today was the first time I'd seen her in half a month. She rubbed her face against me like a kitten. "Ethan, this time, Lucas and I must have a result." My hand stiffened, but I still held her. My throat was dry, stomach acid surged, burning my heart. It took a while to recover. I coughed dryly. "So what do you mean?" Emma handed me a card and rubbed against me again. "Ethan, we might be at the end." I looked at the card and said nothing. I'd given everything to Emma for 3 years, even though everyone thought I was after her money. I never explained. I'd run to embrace her in the rain because she was afraid of thunder. I'd taken a plane to get a handful of snow for her in a snowstorm because she said she wanted to see snow, only to later find out it had snowed heavily in the city where Lucas lived that day. What she wanted to see wasn't the snow I brought back. I worried about her stomach problems, her drinking habits, her work pressure. I took care of her, exhausted myself, even angered my father, who thought I was too caught up in romance. But I still couldn't compare to Lucas. Not even to Lucas's simple, "My stomach hurts." My stomach did hurt. I swallowed and raised the whiskey in front of me, tilting my head back to drink it down. The pain worsened, but it numbed the ache in my heart. I raised my hand and pushed Emma away. "All right," I smiled at her. "As you wish." Emma blinked, seemingly not expecting me to agree so readily. "Ethan, I'll help you find a job." I shook my head and refused, standing up to pat my clothes. "No need, Emma. All the things you gave me in these 3 years, whether it's the card, the watch, or the limited edition sneakers, I've put them all in the safe. The password is your birthday." I turned to leave. Emma grabbed the corner of my shirt. "Ethan, wait." Her delicate face looked up at me. "You don't seem upset about the breakup." I said nothing and walked out. As I reached the private room door, Emma caught up, holding her phone. The room was silent now. I could even hear Lucas's voice on the other end. "Make him go to the room, and then I'll believe you two have no lingering feelings," he said. Emma hung up, her face expressionless. Her beautiful fox-like eyes narrowed slightly, a sign of her anger. She pointed to my chest. "Ethan, I'll ask you one more time. Why did you agree to the breakup so quietly? Aren't you upset?" I lowered my head and laughed. "Wasn't it you who wanted to break up? I'm following your wish. Why is it suddenly wrong?" Emma narrowed her eyes again. After a while, she smiled. "Fine. Very fine." She took out a card and threw it at me. "This is the key card to a room upstairs. There's a woman inside. I need you to make her happy so my negotiation tomorrow goes smoothly. Do it well, and I'll give you a substantial breakup fee. Otherwise, you get nothing." Her fingers slid across my face. Her lips curled up, but her eyes were icy. My stomach hurt again, and my heart ached too. I grabbed her wrist. "Emma, what do you take me for?" "As a big toy," she smiled. "If it feels good, why not let my friends use it too?" I looked at Emma for a long time, the woman I'd loved for so long. Even her best friend felt it was inappropriate. and stood up to stop her. Enough. If you're breaking up, do it properly. But Emma stubbornly handed me the key card. Going or not? I took a deep breath, feeling desolate. I looked down at the card for a long time, then smiled. Going. I took the card and turned to leave. Emma called after me. Ethan, you. I stopped, waiting for her to say something, but she said nothing. Not a single word. I sighed bitterly. Just this one last time, as she wished. Then I'll sever all ties and never look back. I took the elevator upstairs and ran into the hotel manager. Seeing me, he quickly made way. Ethan here? Is there something Chairman White wants to convey? I shook my head. Personal matter. Yes. The card Emma gave me was for our family hotel. Including Emma, everyone was an executive in our family group. I just hadn't joined yet, so most people didn't know. I didn't tell Emma because I feared the disparity in status would taint our love. I even knew the room was occupied by one of our group's major clients, Olivia, because Emma's negotiation rights were secured by my father and me. I took a deep breath and opened the door. The room was dark, with only a dim floor lamp by the sofa. A slender figure rested there, naturally curly hair draped over her chest, wearing a beige cashmere long dress that looked comfortable and fitting. This must be Olivia. Hearing the door open, she opened her eyes. Her long, upward slanting eyelids stared at me without blinking. After a while, she smiled. So Emma really was willing to go all out. She stood up and stretched. I just mentioned casually that she had a little boy toy, and she took it seriously. I lowered my gaze. I'm just looking around. If it was a casual mention, I'll leave. Angry as I was, I didn't want to degrade myself. Olivia raised her eyebrows. She didn't force you, did she? Then I can't let you in. I said nothing. Olivia frowned. So she did. That's not okay. I don't do such things. You should go back. I nodded and turned to leave. At home, I locked myself in for 3 days. 3 days later, my dad dragged me out, saying he wanted to take me to dinner to build connections for my future business endeavors. When we entered the private room, I immediately saw a familiar figure at the table, Olivia. Seeing me, she raised her eyebrows. Her cherry lips moved, but she said nothing, just smiled meaningfully. I knew she was mocking me, but I had to pretend not to notice and warmly greet her. No matter how upset I was, I still had to deal with business clients. Olivia raised her glass to me. Mr. White, to you. There aren't many pure-hearted young men like you these days. She smiled with narrowed eyes, clearly mocking my naivety. I knew that in our circle, guys often dated models or socialites. Always the ones to break things off, never the other way around. I was the odd one, trying to be someone's boy toy and failing. I smiled bitterly, raised my glass, and drank it all. Chairman Moore is always right. I refilled my glass and toasted Olivia. Sorry to have embarrassed myself. The alcohol burned my sorrow, too harsh, making my eyes water. My dad, who always spoiled me, quickly patted my back. Look at you. Drink slowly. Don't let Chairman Moore laugh at you. I coughed and wiped my eyes, smiling. Yeah, I guess I'm quite the joke. I nodded to Olivia. Sorry for the laugh. Olivia stared at my red eyes for a moment, then nodded without a word. For the rest of the night, she didn't toast me again, but her gaze was much gentler. After dinner, my dad asked me to take Olivia back to the hotel. We sat in silence in the car, Olivia looking out the window the entire way. As we neared the hotel, she turned to me. I'm sorry. I was puzzled. Sorry for what? You didn't do anything. Olivia shook her head. I was mocking you in my mind, but then I realized I was mocking your pain. I shouldn't mock someone in pain. I'm sorry. I lowered my gaze and shook my head. No need to apologize. I deserve it. As the car pulled up to the hotel entrance, I got out and opened the door for Olivia. I won't accompany you upstairs. But Olivia looked at me and said, Don't you want to have another drink? She smiled and narrowed her pretty almond-shaped eyes. I brought whiskey. I hesitated. It was quite late. She was a major client, and I didn't want to refuse directly. Besides, she was the one inviting me upstairs. Olivia laughed again. I'm not afraid of you, so why are you afraid of me? Though she smiled, there was a serious look in her eyes. I've been hurt too. We're just two wounded souls. I was touched by the flash of pain in her eyes. If there were a mirror now, my eyes would probably show the same sorrow. I closed the car door. Then I'd be honored. These past few days, every time I closed my eyes, I dreamed of Emma's cold eyes, the room card she threw at me, and her with Lucas. I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. I really needed a drink to help me forget the outcome of my 3 years of sincere love. I walked into the lobby with Olivia. The lobby manager respectfully approached us, about to speak, but a shocked voice interrupted him. Ethan. My body tensed. It was Emma's voice. She sounded surprised, more so angry. What are you doing here? I turned and saw Emma coming out of the hotel restaurant with clients, narrowing her eyes at me. She looked at me, then at Olivia beside me, forcing a smile. Chairman Moore, seems my recommendation suits your taste. Olivia smiled, linked her arm through mine, and nodded at Emma. I quite like him. I was stunned by Olivia's actions, and so was Emma. Her face paled, voice unsteady. Chairman Moore, could I borrow Ethan for a minute? I suddenly remembered I have something to ask him. Olivia looked at me, and seeing I didn't refuse, shrugged. Just 2 minutes. We're in a hurry to go upstairs. Emma bit her lip and beckoned me. I didn't move. She gritted her teeth. Ethan, could you come here? Her delicate face was full of anger, coldness in her eyes growing. I took a deep breath and walked over. I didn't know what she wanted to say. At this point, it couldn't be an apology. Emma pulled me a few steps away, her fingers icy, face darkened, teeth clenched. Ethan, don't you feel dirty? I was stunned. I could accept anything she said, but calling me dirty? I couldn't accept that. How am I dirty? I pursed my lips and asked. Emma's eyes burned with cold fire. I thought you wouldn't really go upstairs. Did you really go? She scrutinized my face, my neck, as if examining my entire body. What did you do? Huh? I looked at her angry expression, suddenly both surprised and amused. I looked down at her trembling hands. Didn't you tell me to go, Emma? I was just following your orders. I was angry at you. I was just angry. The fire in Emma's eyes burned brighter, reddening her eyes. How was I to know you would really go and sleep with someone else? Ethan, don't you have any shame? Emma, an executive who usually hid her emotions, always treated me with indifference, often teasing me more than anything. But now, her eyes were red, lips trembling with anger, like a child whose favorite toy was taken away. It added a touch of reality, a glimpse of the genuine childhood Emma. I closed my eyes and sighed. Emma, I have to go? We're done. I turned and walked back to Olivia, letting her take my arm as we entered the elevator. Behind me, Emma's voice called out low and furious. Ethan. I paused, then walked on without looking back. Olivia and I drank a lot. We didn't speak, just silently poured, toasted, and drank. I looked out the window, thinking of the past 3 years. She did the same, lost in her own thoughts. After a long time, a hint of tears appeared in her eyes, and she smiled at me. Why are there so many people in this world who don't know how to cherish what they have? They trample on others' genuine feelings. Don't they feel any sadness? I shook my head and drank another glass. Olivia turned to look at the city lights, a single tear rolling down her face. We drank for 5 hours, from evening until early morning. Drunk, I carried the sleeping Olivia to bed, covered her with a blanket, and staggered downstairs. In the lobby, I heard a voice call, Ethan. I turned to see Emma curled up on a sofa, wrapped in a shawl, hair messy, makeup smudged, red-eyed. Ethan, I've been waiting for you all night. Why did you just come down now? She walked toward me. I thought about it. You're not that kind of person. Nothing happened between you and her, right? I rubbed my temples, unable to speak. The alcohol-induced headache was splitting, along with the pain in my heart. Emma stared at me, unwilling to give up. Without an answer, I suddenly felt like laughing. In the past, I'd always waited for her, sleepless nights, waiting for her overtime, excuses when the office was dark, while her best friend's social media showed Lucas toasting her with a smile. Again and again, until I lost hope. Now she waited all night for me. Why not sooner? I laughed. Emma, does this still concern you? Is there any need for explanations between us? Emma hesitated, searching for a reason. Finally, she said, you owe me money. So why can't I ask? I pressed my temples, feeling disappointment pile into despair. Emma, if you cared about me at all, you'd realize I haven't spent a penny of your money in 3 years. I never touched your card. But Emma didn't believe it. Then what about your clothes, watch bag? Those are my own money. I interrupted, losing patience. Emma, everyone around you flatters you for money, so you think everyone's like that. But I'm not. I'm different from them. Emma bit her lip. Ethan, how about we talk again? I shook my head. Talk about what? Shall we talk about how you push me away for Lucas every time he calls? Or how you work overtime endlessly when he's back, even though the office is dark and the security's asleep? Or how, at Lucas's word, you wouldn't even give me the mercy of a proper breakup, pushing me into another woman's room like a toy? Even now, those memories turn to steel needles piercing my heart, making it hard to breathe. I took a deep breath. So what do you want to talk about? Have you decided to leave Lucas and want me back? Emma was silent, then suddenly cried. Ethan, she covered her face. I can't do it. I've waited for him too long. I closed my eyes, the pain tearing at me. My voice was indifferent, distant. Fine. Then just leave me alone, okay? Don't care who I drink with, whose room I enter, whose bed I sleep in. From now on, it has nothing to do with you. Emma sobbed quietly. I turned and walked toward the door. The cold, early morning wind was piercing, sobering me up and blowing away the last bit of reluctance. When I got home, I drunkenly searched my bedroom and found an album, the only thing of Emma's I'd kept. She used to draw beautifully as a child. The album was filled with vivid drawings of two kids, a pretty, lively little girl and a silent little boy. The girl held the boy's hand everywhere, never letting go. Even when bullied by older kids, they held hands and refused to separate. The album pages had turned yellow, pencil lines blurred, but I still treasured it. Rescued from the trash when Emma tried to throw it away. I'd look through it often. Only then could I feel the warmth Emma had once given, the way she'd held my hand firmly, never wanting to let go. Closing the album, I fell asleep in my clothes. In my dreams, child Emma held my hand and ran. Then present Emma looked at me coldly. I'm tired of you. Let's break up. I slept until 10 a.m. and woke to missed calls from my dad. Come to the company at noon. Take Olivia out for a walk. Visit some scenic spots. I realized my dad wanted me to pursue Olivia. In families like ours, marriages were usually arranged. Everyone accepted it, except me. I thought I could make it work with Emma, always going against my dad, refusing arranged dates. That's why I hadn't been called to work at the company yet. Even now, I didn't want to marry someone I didn't love, have a child for the sake of it, then live separate lives. I wanted to refuse, but the memory of Olivia's tear, falling silently onto the carpet as she stared out the window, almond eyes holding sorrow, made it hard. That sorrow made me unable to refuse. At noon, I drove to the company and waited in the lobby, scrolling through my phone for Olivia. A pair of beige high heels appeared in my view. Smiling, I looked up, expecting Olivia. I've been waiting for you, but it was Emma. She wore a professional suit, light makeup, but dark circles under her eyes made her look exhausted. She looked at me quietly. Ethan, you came to find me, right? But what's the point now? That day, I called you, and you didn't even turn back. I was stunned. I didn't come to find you. Emma frowned. What else would you be here for if not to find me? I'm waiting for someone. Just then, someone tugged my sleeve and linked arms with me, smiling. Shall we go? It was Olivia, dressed in denim, hair in two braids, looking livelier than before. She tilted her head. Aren't you here to take me out? Looking at her smooth forehead and dimples, I suddenly felt the sun's warmth on my back. I nodded. Let's go. I'll take you to the wetland park first, then we can go hiking. As Olivia and I walked out, I didn't notice her holding my arm. Behind us, Emma called, Ethan, come back. I didn't stop. Her voice was tearful. Come back, look at me. I waved back, got in my sports car, and drove off with Olivia. Many in the company watched, but Emma was the most shocked. She messaged me. Where did you get the sports car? Did Olivia give it to you? Ethan, are you with her for money? Later. Ethan, you're not that kind of person, right? Olivia's circle is different from ours. She's just playing with you. I replied. Weren't you just playing too? Emma didn't respond. Olivia took my phone. We're out to have fun. Let's enjoy it. Why the long face? There's no sadness alcohol can't solve. If one drink doesn't work, have two. Remembering her tear, I asked, Chairman Moore, sounds like you have an unresolved past too. Olivia turned, smiled, and looked at the wetland park. My ex-boyfriend didn't know my family background at first. He claimed he loved me deeply. Later, after I took over the family business and refused his unreasonable demands, he hired people to kidnap me, hoping to profit, then planned to kill me. I was stunned. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Olivia shook her head. It's okay. It's all in the past. She tucked hair behind her ear. But during that time, I relied on alcohol. That's why I suggested we drink. I know how painful it is to have your sincere feelings betrayed. She spoke lightly, but I remembered Olivia was only 26, forced to take over after her father's stroke, kidnapped by a lover. It must have been devastating. I hesitated, then patted her shoulder. It's all in the past. I took Olivia around, to the wetland park, hiking, eating, a movie. When I dropped her off, it was 10 p.m. On the way home, I got a call from Emma, clearly drunk. Ethan, didn't you see the post? Why didn't you react? I laughed. What reaction do you want? Congratulations and a gift. Emma paused. Ethan, you're not happy, are you? If you're unhappy, just say the word, and I will. She didn't finish. I lowered my eyes, mocking. And what? It's not like you'll refuse Lucas, right? Emma hesitated again. I laughed out loud. Emma, if you want my blessing, then you have it. I wish you and Lucas a lifetime of happiness. Don't be conflicted anymore. You can't let him go. Emma was silent. Just as I was about to hang up, she said, I thought I couldn't let go, but now I'm not sure. Ethan, I don't know how to choose. When I see you with Olivia, it's like there's a fire burning in my heart. I hung up without another word. Disappointment can be recovered from, but despair cannot. My dad was pleased that I no longer moved out or lowered myself for some inexplicable female employee. He encouraged me to start at the company soon, suggesting I begin by collaborating with Olivia. Meanwhile, Emma messaged me. Ethan, I regret it. I ignored her and blocked her on all platforms, phone, messages, social media. I wanted her completely out of my life. Emma's best friend cursed me online, blaming me for driving Emma crazy. Later, even Lucas called. You play hard to get well, but you're just a toy. Emma will never care about you. After hanging up, I looked at the custom suit my dad had made and fell into thought. Did Lucas know his new boss arriving tomorrow was named Ethan? The next day's department meeting included the cooperation department. Lucas and Emma, both managers, waited in the conference room, eager to meet the old chairman's son. They smiled as the door opened. Then I walked in. Emma stood up. Ethan, why are you here? Before she finished, the assistant introduced me. This is Chairman White's son. You can call him Ethan from now on. Work well with him. Emma froze. I watched her face pale. No wonder she didn't know. I'd never mentioned my background, acting obedient and easygoing. Who'd think I was the only son? I sat, motioning her to sit. Manager Clark, don't be formal. Sit and speak. Emma remained stiff. Lucas had to pull her into her seat. His face darkened, almost livid. Teeth clenched. Ethan, don't you feel dirty? I was stunned. I could accept anything she said, but calling me dirty? I couldn't accept that. How am I dirty? I pursed my lips and asked. Emma's eyes burned with cold fire. I thought you wouldn't really go upstairs. Did you really go? She scrutinized my face, my neck, as if examining my entire body. What did you do? Huh? I looked at her angry expression, suddenly both surprised and amused. I looked down at her trembling hands. Didn't you tell me to go, Emma? I was just following your orders. I was angry at you. I was just angry. The fire in her eyes burned brighter, reddening her lids. How was I to know you'd really go and sleep with someone else? Ethan, don't you have any shame? Emma, an executive who usually hid her emotions, always treated me with indifference, often teasing me more than anything. But now, her eyes were red, lips trembling, like a child whose favorite toy was taken. It was a rare glimpse of the genuine childhood Emma. I closed my eyes and sighed. Emma, I have to go? We're done. I turned and walked back to Olivia, letting her take my arm as we entered the elevator. Behind me, Emma's voice called low and furious, Ethan. I paused, then walked on without looking back. Olivia and I drank heavily. We didn't speak, just poured, toasted, and drank in silence. I stared out the window, thinking of the past 3 years. She did the same, lost in her own thoughts. After a long while, tears shimmered in her eyes, and she smiled bitterly. Why do so many people trample on others' hearts without a second thought? I shook my head and drank another glass. Olivia turned to the city lights, a single tear rolling down her face. We drank for 5 hours, from dusk till dawn. Drunk, I carried the sleeping Olivia to bed, covered her with a blanket, and staggered downstairs. In the lobby, I heard a voice call, Ethan. Emma was curled on a sofa, wrapped in a shawl, hair messy, makeup smudged, eyes red, teeth clenched. Ethan, don't you feel dirty? I was stunned. I could accept anything she said, but calling me dirty? I couldn't accept that. How am I dirty? I pursed my lips and asked. Emma's eyes burned with cold fire. I thought you wouldn't really go upstairs. Did you really go? She scrutinized my face, my neck, as if examining my entire body. What did you do? Huh? I looked at her angry expression, suddenly both surprised and amused. I looked down at her trembling hands. Didn't you tell me to go, Emma? I was just following your orders. I was angry at you. I was just angry. The fire in her eyes burned brighter, reddening her lids. How was I to know you'd really go and sleep with someone else? Ethan, don't you have any shame? Emma, an executive who usually hid her emotions, always treated me with indifference, often teasing me more than anything. But now, her eyes were red, lips trembling, like a child whose favorite toy was taken. It was a rare glimpse of the genuine childhood Emma. I closed my eyes and sighed. Emma, I have to go? We're done. I turned and walked back to Olivia, letting her take my arm as we entered the elevator. Behind me, Emma's voice called low and furious, Ethan. I paused, then walked on without looking back. Olivia and I drank heavily. We didn't speak, just poured, toasted, and drank in silence. I stared out the window, thinking of the past 3 years. She did the same, lost in her own thoughts. After a long while, tears shimmered in her eyes, and she smiled bitterly. Why do so many people trample on others' hearts without a second thought? I shook my head and drank another glass. Olivia turned to the city lights, a single tear rolling down her face. We drank for 5 hours, from dusk till dawn. Drunk, I carried the sleeping Olivia to bed, covered her with a blanket, and staggered downstairs. In the lobby, I heard a voice call, Ethan. Emma was curled on a sofa, wrapped in a shawl, hair messy, makeup smudged, eyes red. No longer her composed self. Are you really just Chairman Chi's only son? I nodded. Olivia added a yes softly. Manager Lin, you've kept Chairman Chi's son as a pet for 3 years? Emma's face turned even whiter. Why didn't you tell me? I looked at her beautifully made-up face and realized I could no longer see the little girl she used to be. I closed my eyes, utterly disappointed, and decided not to hide anymore. Emma, I'm not just Chairman Chi's son. I had another name when I was young, Gabimo. Emma collapsed to the ground, knocking over a teacup in the process. Her hand was cut, bleeding profusely, but she seemed unaware, just staring at me as if she didn't recognize me. After a while, she suddenly seemed to remember something terrifying. What have I done? She seemed to be asking me, or perhaps herself. What have I done? When I was a child, my dad was a second-generation wealthy individual, carrying my grandfather's surname, Mo. However, my grandfather became addicted to gambling, squandered the family fortune, and abandoned my grandmother and our family, disappearing without a trace. We fell into poverty, living in the slums, working desperately to pay off debts. I went from being the wealthiest kid in school to the most pitiable, naturally becoming a target for bullying. At that time, there was also a girl named Emma at school, with a disabled father and a mentally ill mother. She, too, was a target for bullies. The first time I was bullied, Emma appeared out of nowhere, grabbed me, and we ran like the wind. She knew the terrain well and had tricky moves that made it impossible for others to catch us. That was how I met her for the first time. In the days that followed, Emma and I huddled together for warmth. We got beaten together, fought back together, had our meager lunches stolen together, went hungry together, and begged for food from the small shops together. Later, my dad moved us to another city to start anew, transferring me to a different school. Emma and I didn't want to be separated and even ran away from home. My dad had to call the police to find us. When we had to part, I promised Emma that I would come back for her. During the years apart, not a day went by that I didn't think of the girl who shared my hardships. Fortunately, my family eventually made money, and we could return to our hometown. Sadly, my grandmother passed away from overwork. My dad said that since my grandfather abandoned his family and my grandmother devoted her life to us, we should take her surname. Thus, I changed from Gabimo to Ethan Chi. When we returned, Emma had just joined my company. She was very capable and hardworking, but she didn't recognize me. As I got close to her, I found that she particularly avoided talking about her childhood and had severed ties with everyone from her past. I hid my past, pursued her diligently, and eventually stood by her side. I thought I had fulfilled my promise, but I never expected that I was just a temporary companion for her. Now looking at Emma sitting on the ground, my heart that once loved her felt no ripples, but the young Ethan inside me was crying in grievance. We had promised to be together when we grew up. Back then, holding hands, we were closer than anyone, but in the end, it turned out like this. I called for iodine and Band-Aids, squatted down, and tended to Emma's wound. Applying iodine and a Band-Aid, I smiled at her. I once thought we would truly fulfill our promise and be together. Tears flowed from Emma's eyes, her lips trembling, unable to speak, only whimpering softly and painfully. But somehow we've reached this point. I helped her up and stood firm. Emma, we can't go any further. This is the end. Tears streamed down Emma's face. Her beautiful eyes were filled with pain and pleading. After a long while, she finally managed to speak, trembling. If I had known it was you, I would never have treated you that way. It's too late. I opened the office door. Emma, the best time has passed. Now we've reached a dead end. Emma stood at my office door for a long time that day, crying until she broke down. Eventually, she drew my dad's attention. When my dad came down, I was handing Emma an album. This is the only thing I kept from everything you gave me. Now that I think about it, there's no need to keep it anymore. We both need to move forward. Emma's trembling hands opened the album, looking at the childish drawings of two kids, one getting beaten, the other crying in pain, one running away, the other distracting the pursuers, one holding hands, the other looking at the sky in silence. On the last day before we parted, the two made a promise to be together in the future. Every stroke of the pen was sincere back then, making the days that followed seem like a joke. Emma flipped to the last page, and tears fell onto the album. She closed the album, turned, and ran away crying. Her staggering figure and trembling shoulders overlapped with the little girl who was chased and beaten back then. My dad stood beside me and asked, "Will you keep her on?" I hesitated for a moment. If her performance is good, keep her. If not, let her go. In my heart, I believed in Emma. The girl who struggled out of the slums, who drastically changed her personality and severed her past, deserved her position. She just didn't keep our childhood promise, but it's okay. It's all in the past. I turned to Olivia. "I'll be going to your place for a business trip this month. Will you welcome me?" Olivia looked at me quietly. After a while, she handed me a sunflower. "Welcome." Lucas resigned. Even if he hadn't, he couldn't face me day after day taking my orders. However, Emma had helped him a lot in his career, and after resigning, he struggled to find a suitable job, feeling very frustrated and wanting to return. But I don't go back to the past, nor do I accept others treating me as a fallback. Career and love are the same. After that day, Emma took a leave of absence. She hadn't taken a vacation in years, and now took a full month off. A month later, she was waiting for me downstairs at the company. She had lost a lot of weight. Her hair had grown out and was untrimmed, and her professional attire was replaced by casual clothes, still the matching couple style I had bought. Seeing me, she burst into tears without saying a word. "Ethan, this past month, I've visited every temple I could, praying for time to reverse." She smiled bitterly. "I know it's nonsense, but I couldn't help it. What if there's really a God who hears me? If time could reverse, I'd never treat you this way." I looked at my watch. "Emma, I have to pick someone up for dinner, so let's keep it short. Also, we're very busy with work lately. I suggest not taking leave unless it's for health or family reasons." Emma was stunned. After a while, she smiled bitterly. "So I have no chance, right?" I didn't say anything because I saw Olivia. Olivia walked over with a smile. "I came early to avoid traffic." I reached out my hand to her. "Let's go. Let's have dinner early and catch a movie." We walked hand in hand, forgetting Emma was still there. From behind came the sound of a soft, "Ethan, I'm here to resign. I can't face you anymore." Olivia stopped and looked at me. "Should you talk to her?" I shook my head. "No need." I turned back to Emma and smiled sincerely, like when we were kids. "Emma, I agree. I wish you all the best." Turning around, I walked away with Olivia. The crying behind us grew louder, eventually turning into wails of regret, but I couldn't look back. There was still a long road ahead for Olivia and me to walk together. I held Olivia's hand tightly, and she gently squeezed mine in return. This time, neither of us would let go.